Alright, good morning. It's a gloomy morning today. I think paparating na si Typhoon Auring. So, that's the reason why our weather is kind of gloomy this morning. Alright, so we're around 13. Alright, some others are still joining. Right. Good morning once again for those who just joined. I hope that you have your periodic tables with you and your modules with you at the same time. Alright, so some others are still joining. So, tinatiming nila talagang 10 o'clock sila mag-join. Alright, so I'm just trying to check first kung kompleto ba yung audio niya. Kasi last time, what I recorded was, there was no audio. Kompleto ba yung Alright, audio so meron. Kasi... Alright, so I think the lesson for today is kinda short lang, pero iisa-isahin ko siya. Alright, so once again, good morning for those who just joined. Can you hear me loud and clear? Can I hear a feedback from you? If my all systems are go for me? Yeah, buddy?
Yes.
Alright, right. Very good, thank you, Miss Grace. Alright, so we are 17. I hope that others will still be coming. Alright, so today is just very short and however, it's almost relatable with the previous lesson that we have. Alright, before we're going to start with the lesson proper, no, I'd just like to remind you of the worksheet number 1 that you are to at least sana pass it today. Kasi I'm going to give you worksheet number 2 today, which is also another, it's the same thing that you have done in your worksheet number 1. However, we're going to talk about isotopes this time, not the neutral atoms anymore. So, medyo meron siyang difference ng konti, pero the process of like subtracting the mass number from the atomic number is still the same. Alright, so yun yung gagawin natin. And yun na nga, I'm going to just talk about your isotopes today and not mix it with your ions is because, again, yung tatlong yan, yung neutral atoms, your isotopes, your ions are actually something na later on kasi parehas silang merong computation and it will make you more confused, no, if I'm going to make them isasabay ko silang pagdi-discuss. So just today is just for your isotopes. Now this is the last week of our third quarter and I've decided na I'm actually just choosing the ones that are really very important for you to be able to learn for this third quarter. Kasi by next week, it's already March, the first week of March. And a week after that would be your the second week of March, which is the last week of your science. So, matatapos na po tayo sa March 12. And just be mindful that for those who did not pass still from anything from first quarter until today, I'm hoping that you're going to pass slowly, no? Slowly or pakonte-konte basta meron kayong pinas, no, from first quarter until the fourth quarter. Now, don't be also be wag din na kalimutan yung mga quizzes, no, that I have sent you the links on Google Forms, no. And also use your names for that one. Now, for the worksheet later on, I'll be sending that one to you through your group chat. Now, what else? Mga announcements. All right. Thursday, kasi I'm trying to fit everything in your third quarter, no? The lessons. However, I actually need again another day of this week for you to be able to for me to be able to discuss it with you, especially for ions. Now, if you're going to look at the calendar, February 25, which is Thursday, is actually your EDSA Revolution or People's Power holiday. So I will not be around also at home because we're going to go somewhere else on that holiday. Now, I was thinking, I'm trying to fit in a lesson maybe tomorrow or maybe on Friday. If which of the day will you be better na mas convenient para sa inyo? Do you have any online discussion or synchronous discussion with your ESP tomorrow for Wednesday? Meron ba? Kasi if kansana I prefer it to be tomorrow, Wednesday sana if pwede. At the same time, short lang din, yung ions lang and the rest of the third quarter. Meron akong hindi na i-discuss doon kasi yun lang naman for third quarter. Is it like are you amenable for tomorrow or maybe for Friday? Bala kayo kung which one is more convenient and the majority na decision. Anybody? Bukas ba or Friday? Kasi holiday kasi ng 25 eh. Anybody?
Friday.
Friday, sir.
Friday na lang at 10 o'clock also? Is
Yes,
it?
sir.
Is, alright, sige, Friday na lang garod para medyo meron tayong leeway for us to be able to digest whatever is that we're going to discuss today. Now, some of you, I was surprised when we had our last discussion last Thursday, no? In the morning, somebody just passed right away the worksheet in the afternoon. So I was surprised and I was really proud of trying to see the answers, and the answers were correct, no? And I think that I thought that medyo mahirap, akala ko mahirap yung lesson na yun, pero some of you actually have passed it right away, no? However, not all have passed, and there were some of you na nagpass, pero as I was looking at your answers, I was asking for those few of you to redo it because then again answers are wrong, especially for the mass number na sinabi ko nga you're going to round it off to a whole number, but there was this one of your classmates who answered it with the decimal numbers. Now pati yung number of newtons niya naka-decimal din. So yun. Tapos there was this also another one who answered, pinarehas niya lahat ng number ng protons, neutrons, electrons at saka yung atomic number. Tama yung mass number niya pero hindi niya sinunod yung the equation for getting the number of neutrons. Akala niya siguro parehas yung protons, neutrons and electrons na numbers, which is not true for the neutral atoms and even for the rest. It's only your protons and your atomic number is the same, right? So I think we don't have anything more siguro na announcement, but just to look at the calendar, no, for those who are here most of the time, we're only left with 3 more weeks. Actually, this is the last week for your third quarter, and next week will be the start of your fourth quarter already. All right, so then again we'll be having another synchronous discussion as mentioned by your classmates sa Friday na lang at 10 o'clock also at the same time. Alright, so let's now proceed to your, let me share to you my screen. Alright, sorry. Alright. So we're now on lesson 15 I mean, no? We talk about your isotopes. Let's just wait for it to be in a bigger screen. Sharing to my screen right now. Alright. Are you seeing the screen right now for lesson 15, isotope? Anybody?
Yes.
Alright. Thank you very much for responding. Alright, so your lesson 14 is about your neutral atoms, alright? However, your lesson 15 is for your isotopes. Now, these two are kind of different in terms of trying to find the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons for this type of your atom because they are not anymore neutral. They are actually what you call your isotopes. Now, meron pa tayong lesson 16 for your ions, but I will be reserving that one for Friday. So, let's get to talk about what are isotope. Alright? Maganda yung pangalan ng pagkadunig, no? Isotope. Alright. So, isotopes are actually they are atoms of the same element that have the same number of protons and electrons, just like your neutral atoms, the same number of protons and electrons. Alright, so bear in mind that isotopes have the same number of protons and electrons, just like the one that you are solving last time for neutral atoms. However, the last few words of this first bullet will tell you its difference, but it has a different number of neutrons. Alright? Different number of neutrons. So the same rule applies with your neutral atoms of them having the same number of protons and electrons but different number of neutrons. Kasi ginagawa natin dati with your neutral atoms is whatever is the mass number, you're going to just subtract it to the atomic number. Whatever is the answer, that's the number of your neutrons. However, for your isotopes, yun din ang gagawin natin. Pero makikita natin, uy, meron palang ganito. Alright? Think of them, no? Ito, medyo analysis ko lang ito. Alright? Think of them as twins or triplets of the neutral atoms that becomes fatter or heavier. Alright? Think of your neutral atoms as the normal atom. However, think of your isotope as the fatter or heavier version of that neutral atom. Alright? Bakit fatter? Bakit heavier? Later on, makikita natin because of the mass number that they have. Alright? So, just think of it. Isotopes are still neutral atoms but with different number of neutrons. Alright, let's get to see some example. Here's an example of an isotope of your hydrogen. Now, I believe that you have also this one in your module. Alright, tingnan natin kung nandiyan sa module. I believe that there I placed something in that module, no? Alright, it's found in your page 119. No? Now, you get to see here, hydrogen, protium ang pangalan niya. But if you're going to look at your module, it's actually your hydrogen 1. Now, just think of it that the hydrogen 1 is actually your neutral atom. Alright? Because hydrogen, the regular neutral atom of your hydrogen, has 1 proton and 1 electron with 0 neutron. Ito po yung neutral atoms na neutral atom na hydrogen, itong protium na ito, or simply in your module, it's your hydrogen 1. That's the reason why in your previous na slide, I've mentioned that your isotopes are just the twins or triplet of your neutral atom. Because meron din tayong tinatawag na deuterium at tritium, alright? Deuterium at tritium. Anong nangyari dito? Then again, sabi ko nga, isotopes are just the same neutral atom with different number of neutrons. Nakita natin dito sa picture na ito that in deuterium, there exists 1 neutron. But in a neutral atom ng hydrogen, wala pong neutron yan. 0 ang neutron. Pero dito, nadagdagan ng neutron. In your tritium, nadagdagan ng 2 neutron. Alright? So, bear in mind that these are all hydrogen. These are all hydrogen kasi nga, no? We all know pretty well that the identification of your atom is based on your proton. Because your proton is actually your atomic number. We have 1 here, proton. We have 1 proton here. We have 1 proton here. And we all know pretty well that your 1 proton or your first atomic number or number 1 atomic number will always be hydrogen. Ang nangyari lang dito, nadagdagan ng neutron. Neutron dito, nadagdagan ng neutron dito. And if you can still remember, the one that I have discussed with you last time, where is the mass of an atom concentrated? Asan? Or asan yung focus ng mass of an atom? You still remember? Anybody? Meron tayong discuss that one last time. Anybody? Where is the mass of your atom concentrated or focused? Oh, anybody?
The weight?
Yeah, yes, it's the weight, no? Pero where is the weight concentrated? Saang banda?
Nucleus.
In the nucleus. Very good. Nucleus po ang bigat ng isang atom. We know that you get to see here that in your neutral or your hydrogen 1, no? Isa lang si proton. Dito, nadagdagan ng neutron. Dito, nadagdagan pa ng isang neutron. 2 neutron lahat. ang nangyayari dito, no, mas bumibigat yung mga hydrogen na ito. Kaya nga sabi ko sa previous na slide, it's a heavier or fatter version of the neutral atom. Alright? Then again, your protium is actually your hydrogen 1, which is actually your neutral atom. Now, this is a copy, no, or a twin of your hydrogen now, which is your deuterium or your hydrogen 2, and you have your tritium, which is your hydrogen 3. Alright? So, pag napansin nyo, nadagdagan po tayo ng, ito yung specific, no? Normally, hydrogen has 0 neutron. But as you can see, it has triplet having 1 and 2 neutrons in the photo presented. Alright? So, ito po ang neutral hydrogen atom. Ito yung hydrogen with 1 neutron and hydrogen with 2 neutrons. Nakita natin dyan. Alright? So, the arrow will tell you that nadagdagan lang po siya ng neutron. Alright? So, be mindful that isotopes are not found in your periodic table. Wala po sila dyan. Actually, if you're going to Google them, kailangan mo lang hanapin yung sino ba yung mga merong list ng mga isotopes. Kasi hindi lahat po ng mga elements na nasa periodic table ay meron pong isotope. So, isang alam na natin sa hydrogen, meron pala siyang isotope. Alright? So, merong hydrogen 1, hydrogen 2, and hydrogen 3. Alright? Let's get to continue more and try to at least digest this isotope that we have here. Alright. If you're going to look at your hydrogen isotopes, no, meron po siyang a way of us actually writing them. Alright? Meron po talaga silang pangalan like your protium, deuterium, and your tritium, pero it's really kind of complicated for you to memorize that one. So it's better for us to know how to write them by trying just to write the name of the atom followed by a hyphen and its mass number. Alright? So, paano ba magsulat ng isotope? Parehas lang ng nakasulat dito. Name ng atom, which is hydrogen. You put a hyphen there, and you put there the mass number. We know pretty well that your proton is actually 1 AMU, or 1 atomic mass unit. So, trying to look at it here, as we have mentioned, the mass of an atom is concentrated in the nucleus. Nasa nucleus po. Kaya, ito, 1 AMU, therefore 1 siya. 1 yung mass number niya. Hydrogen 1. Kasi si proton lang doon 1 mass number. Now, we know also that your neutron is also the same mass with your proton. Makikita natin dito that in your hydrogen 2, dalawa na po. No? Meron tayong 1 si proton, 1 AMU, and 1 AMU, which is your atomic mass unit. 1 plus 1 will give you a mass number of 2. Kaya, tawag natin dyan, hydrogen 2. Right? It's because it has a mass number of 2. Right? 1 plus 1, 2. Dito naman sa pangatlo, you have your hydrogen. Still hydrogen ito. Pero if you're going to count it, this is 1, 2, 3. So therefore, the mass number would be 3. So what you're going to do is you're going to put there the name of that element or atom, hyphen, and the mass number. Alright? So 3. So yan po yung paano natin isusulat yung isotopes. Alright, questions? Baka I'm kind of going too fast for this one. Questions on how to write or questions on how to differentiate your isotopes from your neutral atoms. Now is the time for you to ask. Anybody? Questions? Hello? Are you still there? Hi? Am I still connected ba? Disconnected na ako.
Not, sir.
Alright, sige, let's proceed with your isotopes. I hope that you get to have this at least base idea of how your neutral atom is different from your isotope. Alright? So, punta tayo dito. More examples. Now, there are other elements, as I've mentioned, no, that have isotopes. Alright? So, you have your oxygen 16, or your oxygen 17, and your oxygen 18. Alright? Now, I'd like you to go to your periodic table and try to find what is the mass number of your oxygen. You can turn on your microphones for you to answer. Ano ba yung mass number ni oxygen? Anybody?
16.
Alright, 16. Alright, so you get to see that oxygen 16 here, which was written this way, is actually your neutral atom of your oxygen. So sinasabi lang ni oxygen dito, no, na this is your neutral atom. Now your oxygen 17 and your oxygen 18 is actually the isotope of your oxygen 16 or yung regular nyo or neutral atom nyo na oxygen. Ano bang nangyari dito? Nadagdagan lang po ng isang neutron. So basically, normally you have your normal oxygen atom with 8 protons, 8 neutrons, and 8 electrons. Pero nakita natin dito that dito nadagdagan ng isang neutron, so naging 9, and dito nadagdagan ng dalawang neutron, kaya naging 10. Alright? So you get to see here an example of your oxygen na having its isotope. Alright? Another example, you have also your carbon. Si carbon po, meron ding tinatawag nating isotope niya. Alright? If you're going to look at your periodic table, what is the mass number of your carbon? Sa periodic table natin, yung neutral atom na carbon natin. Ano yung mass number niya? Anybody? Or the mass number of your carbon. Periodic table, please. For you to be able to at least maximize the use of your periodic table. Anybody who has...
Sir, 12.
Alright, you have your 12.
Sir,
No? 12 periodic table. In your periodic table, the mass number of your carbon is 12. Therefore, you get to see here, your carbon 12 is actually your neutral atom over carbon. Ito yung regular na atom, yung 12. However, si carbon 12 pala, meron palang kopya siya. Meron tayong nag-i-exist na carbon 13 and carbon 14. So, anong nangyari dito? Ito yung regular natin na nucleus, yung nasa gitna. So, we have your carbon, we have your 6 protons and 6 neutrons. Ang nangyari dito, nadagdagan ng isang neutron, kaya bumigat itong si carbon, naging 13 yung mass niya. Kasi if you're going to count this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ilang bilog itong nandito, no? Lahat ito ay 13. Again, in this, another isotope of carbon, nadagdagan na naman ng dalawang neutron. So if we're going to count this, all, this mga circles or rounds that we have here, these are all 14. That's the reason why the mass number of your carbon here is your 14. Alright? Regular si 12, isotope si 13, and another isotope si 14. So those are just some few concrete examples of your isotopes. Alright? So, ito. You have also your chlorine. Meron ding chlorine. Si chlorine, if you're going to look at your periodic tables once again, what would be the mass number of your chlorine? Ano mass number ni chlorine? Alright, you have your 35, which is the regular one. So, malalaman natin that the first one written here is actually your regular chlorine, no? Which is your neutral atom of your chlorine, having 17 protons, 17 electrons, and 18 neutrons. Right? So, palang 35 minus 17, you have your 18 here, which is your neutron, 18. Pero there exists also what you call your isotope of your regular chlorine, which is your chlorine 37. Right? It has a mass number of 37. Therefore, if you're going to subtract 17 minus 37 minus 17 will give you 20 neutrons. So, nadagdagan ng ilan from the neutral atom of chlorine? Ilan ang nadagdagang neutron dito sa chlorine 37? How many neutrons were added in the chlorine 37? Anybody? How many neutrons ang nadagdagan sa chlorine 37 as opposed to your chlorine 35? Hello? Malapit actually tayong matapos. Hindi naman siya ganun kahaba ngayon yung lesson natin. Anybody?
Sir, 2.
Alright, very good, no? So, you get to see here the difference that in your regular chlorine 35, it has 18 neutrons, but here, in your isotope of your chlorine 37, it has 20 neutrons. So, nadagdagan ng, 20 minus 18 will give you 2. So, therefore, sa isotope, nadagdagan ng 2 neutrons dito. Very good. Thank you for answering. Alright, so, try natin ito. Let's try this. Alright? So, you have here hydrogen 1, hydrogen 2, hydrogen 3. Alright, so let's try to answer this one kasi ganito din yung worksheet number 2 ninyo. Alright? So, paano ba natin to gagawin? Alright. I-exit ko na lang to. Alright, so para live nating ma-answer ito. Alright? So, alright. You still remember what Z stands for? Ano yung Z? What does Z stand for? Anybody?
Atomic mass.
Alright, atomic mass or your atomic number. Alright, your Z would stand for your atomic number. Your P stands for your protons. Your N stands for your
Neutrons.
your E stands for your
Electrons.
electron. And lastly, A stands for what?
Mass number.
Mass number. Very good. Alright, so what would be the atomic number of your hydrogen based on your periodic table? Anybody?
1, sir.
Alright, very good. 1. So, number of proton, ilan?
1, sir.
1. Alright, so kasi magkaparehas lang si Z at saka si P. Number of electron, ilan?
1, sir.
Alright, 1 din. So, usually, ang diskarte nito, answerin nyo muna si Z, si P, at saka si E. Kasi magkakaparehas lang yan. What happened? Alright, magkakaparehas lang sila. Alright, wait lang. My computer hung up. Alright, sorry. So you're going to look at here that your number of protons, ala, pinindot niya na lahat. Wait lang nagkaloko-loko yung keyboard ko. Alright, so you get to see here that your number of electron is 1. So, ang gagawin ang kailangan nyo lang maisip is that your Z and your P and your E is actually always the same. Alright, for your isotopes and even for neutral atoms. Now, what would be the mass number of your neutron, your hydrogen?
1, sir.
Alright, very good. 1.
1.008, but...
Alright, very good. So, 1 po yung buong whole number na rounding off niya. So, therefore, we get to see here that we are to look for your neutrons. So, ilan po ang neutron ni hydrogen 1? Ano ba yung equation natin dito? Ilan yung neutron ni hydrogen 1?
Sir, 0.
0, very good. Because what you're going to do is just to subtract your A minus Z. Alright? So, A minus Z, 1 minus 1 will give you what answer?
0.
Alright, 0. Very good. So, therefore, your hydrogen 1 has no neutrons. Alright? Now, this is actually your regular neutral atom na hydrogen. No? So, ito. Now, this time, let's go to the isotope of your hydrogen. Alright? So, then again, ano po yung atomic number ni hydrogen?
2.
Atomic number. If you're going to look at your atomic number, always look for your periodic table. The number 2 is actually assigned for helium and not for hydrogen. Ano po ang atomic number ni hydrogen? Atomic number. Alright, very good. 1 pa rin. Kasi si hydrogen pa rin siya eh. Alright? And we all know pretty well that your atomic number is always, hindi po nagbabago yan. Pag na-assign sa ganito, na-assign talaga sa kanya lang. Parehas din sa ID numbers nyo. So, hydrogen is your number 1 or the first element in your periodic table. Therefore, 1. What would be the number of protons? Number of protons, please.
Sir, 1.
Alright, very good. 1 pa rin. Number of electron?
Sir, 1.
1. Alright? Tapos, mass number?
Sir, 1.
Alright. Kung 1 ang lalagay natin dyan, how will it be different from hydrogen 1 kay hydrogen 2? Di ba? Kung 1 yung ilalagay natin dyan. So, if lalagay natin dyan 1, therefore 0 din yung answer dito. So, how is your hydrogen 2 different from your hydrogen 1? So, therefore, the mass number is not 1. Ano kaya? Ano kaya yung mass number niya?
2.
Alright. Somebody guess? 2? Ano, meron kayang mga ibang answer? Alright. just be mindful, no, that whenever you look at your isotopes, no, sabi ko nga, di ba, how do we write your isotopes? Meron ba akong do you still remember na in previous slide, how do we write your isotopes? You have your name, followed by a hyphen, di ba? And what is this number here? What does this represent, mga number na nasa harap niya?
Sir, mass number.
Mass number. Alright, therefore, the numbers that are actually shown here are actually your what letter in this table that we have? Mass number sinabi nyo. So, saan natin dito ilalagay si number 2? Anong letter?
Sir, A.
Alright, very good, A. Kasi nga, sabi ko nga earlier that you have your, if you're going to write isotopes, that would be the name of that element or atom, be followed by a hyphen, then whatever is the mass number. Now, given that you have here at mass number of 2, therefore, automatic, yung mass number na natin dyan, 2. Alright? So, yan na siya. Nakuha na natin yung atomic mass number na. So, how many neutrons does it have? Anybody? Ilang neutrons?
Sir, 1.
Alright, paano mo nakuha yung 1? How did you get the answer of 1? Which is the correct answer?
Sir, mass number minus atomic number, A minus Z is equals to N.
Alright, very good. So therefore, if your A is 2 and your Z is 1, therefore 2 minus 1 will give you an answer of ano?
1, sir.
1, very good. So yan na po yung answer natin for the isotope. Alright? So ganun lang po yung pag-answer natin for isotope. Alright? Let's go to your third example. Alright. Atomic number of your hydrogen for hydrogen 3. Atomic number.
Sir, 1.
1. Number of protons.
1, sir.
1. Number of electrons.
1, sir.
Mass number.
3, sir.
3. Very good. Because 3 ang nakasulat dito. So therefore, mass number would be 3. So what would be the number of neutrons, I mean?
2, sir.
Alright. So 2, no? So simply, what you're going to do is A minus Z. We have your 3 minus 1 will give you an answer of, ano?
2.
2. Very good. So, yan na po yung answer natin. So, how do they just differ? Halos parehas lang. Ang nagdi-differ lang sa kanila is the number of your neutron and your mass number. But, no, mass number is very obvious because nakasulat po siya sa pangalan mismo dito ng atom. So, 1, 2, 3. So, makita natin 1, 2, 3 din andito. Yan lang yung actually, if you're going to look at it here, kung ano man yung nandito, yun yung ilalagay nyo sa A dyan. And the rest will be solvable based on the equation and based on the information you get from the periodic table. So, tama yung na-solve natin. So, ito yung na-solve natin earlier. Very good. So, nagets nyo. Alright, let's try another example. Try natin isang example.
Yes, sir.
Alright. So, we have here. Ganito naman. Alright. For your oxygen, ano po yung mass number, atomic number ni oxygen?
8.
Alright, very good.
8, sir.
Number of protons.
16, sir.
Protons.
Ay, 8, sir.
8. Electrons. Ilan yung electrons niya?
8, sir.
8. What is the mass number of your oxygen? Round off to the whole number.
16, sir.
Alright, 16. Alright, 16. Bakit ito? Bumaba siya, sorry. Haba natin konti. Alright, 16. So, ilan yung neutrons?
8, sir.
Alright, 8. How did you get the 8? How did you get the 8?
Mass number minus atomic number.
Alright, very
A
good.
minus Z, sir.
Alright, so what is the A and what is the Z? How did you subtract it or how did you get the answer? 16 minus?
16 minus 8, sir.
Alright, 16 minus 8. You have your 16 here. You have the mass number and your atomic number is 8. So 16 minus 8 will give you an answer of 8, which is your number of neutrons. Alright, very good. Alright, punta tayo dito sa ito. Ito actually yung, minsan pag walang nakasulat na letter dyan, or I mean number dyan, meaning this is your neutral atom of your oxygen, which are actually supplied all in your periodic table. As soon as it has your hyphen there and the number here, therefore malalaman nyo agad na ito pala ay isang isotope agad. So we have your oxygen 17 here, no? Oxygen 17, which is the isotope of your regular oxygen. So what would be the atomic number of your oxygen? Atomic number. Anong atomic number ni oxygen?
8, sir.
8. Very good. Number of protons?
8, sir.
8. Number of electrons?
8, sir.
8. Mass number?
17, sir.
Very good. 17. Kasi 17 yung na-supply dito. So 17 yan. So what is the number of neutrons?
9, sir.
Alright. Very good. 9. So how did we get the 9? It's just simply subtracting your mass number A minus Z. 17 minus 8 will give you an answer of 9, which is your number of your neutrons. Very good. Let's do the last example. Alright. Oxygen, what's the atomic number again of oxygen?
8, sir.
8. Very good. Alright. Number of protons?
8, sir.
8. Very good. Your electrons, number of electrons?
8, sir.
8. Very good. What is the mass number?
18, sir.
18. Very good. And what would be the number of your neutrons? What's the number of neutrons?
10.
Alright. 10. Are you sure? 10. Sure? I get to hear only 2 voices, 3 voices of different voices.
Yes, sir.
Alright, sure na number 10. Alright, so simply what you're going to do is going to subtract your mass number from your atomic number. So 18 minus 8 will give you an answer of 10, which is your number of your neutron. So simply ganun lang po yung pag-answer natin. Alright, questions. Questions kung paano natin gawin ito, because this is exactly your oxygen. This is exactly your worksheet number 2. Questions. Now is the time for you to ask. Questions? The rest, I'm only hearing some few voices. So I assume that if you don't have any questions, therefore you understood how to get the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons, and the rest of the numbers there. Alright? Sige, let's assume that na-gets nyo, no? But if you're medyo nahihiya kayong magtanong, you can just PM me through the messenger. Alright, let's get to talk more about your isotopes, no? Your isotopes are actually not readily available in the nature. Kaya nga hindi siya nakikita sa periodic table natin dyan is because hindi sila usually nag-e-exist sa nature. Because some of them, or maybe most of them, are actually made inside a laboratory. Synthetic po sila, hindi po sila natural. Synthetic. So, parang ginawa lang sila sa laboratory, no, for them to be able to exist. Now, most or some of your isotopes actually emit radiation. Nag-i-emit sila ng radiation. So, nangyayari po dyan, no? If they emit radiation, we call them your radioisotopes. And be mindful that these radioisotopes, compared to the regular neutral atoms, these are mostly unstable. Unstable po sila. Unstable sila that they're actually readily explodable. Ready po silang mag-explode and release a very big amount of energy. To be honest, your radioisotopes are actually the ones that is placed inside a nuclear bomb. Sila po yung nilalagay sa laman ng mga nuclear bomb kasi unstable sila. Gagalawin mo lang ang isa sa mga atom na yun, it will now cause what you call your chain reaction, no? Chain reaction meaning pag ginalaw mo isa, gagalaw yan lahat. If one will release amount of energy, the others will also release their amount of energy. That's the reason why nuclear bombs are really very devastating. Because the atoms there are usually mga radioisotopes and they are unstable. Right? So, have you ever heard of mga nuclear bomb or the atomic bomb that we call? Still remember in your history kung ano ba yung bansa na natamaan ng atomic bomb? Anong bansa yun? Let's get to talk more about your history.
Japan?
Japan, yes. No? You have during the World War II, no? Japan was actually hit by an atomic bomb or your nuclear bomb, which is sa away ng United States and Japan. So nilaglag dahil nung atake ng mga Hapon sa Pearl Harbor that time, nagbalos naman si Americans kasi ang daming namatay ng mga American soldiers at the Pearl Harbor. So naghiganti si United States at binomba din nila ang Japan, specifically your Nagasaki and your Hiroshima. So, anong nilaglag? Nuclear bomb. Anong laman no yun? Mga radioisotopes. Have you ever heard of mga nuclear power plants? Yung mga nagsusupply ng kuryente. Does si Philippines ba, meron ba tayong nuclear power plant? Do you have any news or idea if Philippines, meron bang nuclear power plant sa Philippines? Let's get to talk more about our country. Meron bang nuclear power plant sa Philippines? Guess. Yes or no? Meron ba? Alright. Before we're going to answer that question, we get to see only. What I'm emphasizing is that nuclear power plants are really actually very efficient in terms of supplying us with electricity. In a very small amount of your nuclear mga radioisotopes, they actually can release a very big amount of energy and can supply us with a very big amount of electricity. Your nuclear power plants are actually controlled version of your nuclear bombs. Nakakontrol lang po siya para hindi sumabog. However, the energy that was released by those radioisotopes can be converted into electrical energy. That's the reason why some countries have what you call your nuclear power plant. One of those countries is actually in Japan. Merong mga nuclear power plant ang Japan. We have also in United States, in Ukraine, and different mga mayaman na mga countries. But I'm asking, does Philippines, meron bang nuclear power plant sa Philippines?
Yes, sir.
Alright. You mentioned yes? Alright. If you mentioned yes, saan sa Pilipinas makikita natin yung nuclear power plant natin? Alright. Tama yung answer mo. Si Philippines po, meron po tayong nuclear power plant. That was done during the time of President Marcos. Pinagawa niya po iyon. Saan kaya natin makikita yung nuclear power plant?
Bataan, sir, daw.
Alright, very good. Tama, sa Bataan. However, ito yung nangyari. After it was actually nagawa yung nuclear power plant natin, there came many na mga nagwelga or nagrally doon ng mga tao sa Bataan kasi nga, syempre, pag ikaw naman, if you're living near a nuclear power plant, you think that maybe you are not safe to be living near a nuclear power plant, which is also actually true. To the point that, yun nga, sa dami ng welga, sa dami ng mga rallying nangyari, nasayang po yung nuclear power plant natin sa Bataan. And from that time on, na nagawa yun hanggang natapos, nag-operate lang ng sandali. Pero, after nung nag-operate ng sandali, hindi na po siya inoperate. Thus, the power plant still exists in Bataan, but it's not anymore functional. So, nangyari doon, inutang pa natin yung pagpapagawa natin ng power plant, pero hindi lang pala natin nagamit. Now, it's only now, kailangan nating ma-realize that your nuclear power plants are actually really very efficient. You only need to train people on know how to efficiently and safely operate our nuclear power plant. Pero talagang sayang yung nangyaring ginawa doon sa Bataan. Alright. Aside from your nuclear power plant, they can be used for medical purposes, and some are actually even used for the age of an artifact. Alright, age of an artifact. So, these are some few that are actually existing in your periodic table in your module, no? That I have listed there. Some of those mga isotopes like your americium 241, they are used in smoke detectors. Now, who among you are watching here Young Sheldon? Baka merong nanonood dito ng Young Sheldon na series. If you're watching it, you can actually relate this to one, and I get to share to you the story. Anybody watching the Young Sheldon na series? It's actually
Yes, sir.
merong nanonood ng Young Sheldon na series. If you can still remember Young Sheldon that time, no? And that series that you have, no? What happened was Young Sheldon was trying to find an efficient way to supply electricity in his community. So a very small, very intelligent kid, no, was trying to like find an efficient way to supply electricity in his community. Now, when he asked a professor in college, no, Professor, ano bang kailangan ko para pwede akong mag-supply ng electricity dito sa community namin na libre? Now, what was mentioned was by the professor was for him to be able to find a fissionable material. And as he was trying to find a fissionable material, no, what was supplied to him was actually smoke detectors, because smoke detectors contain a fissionable material or radioisotope, what we call your americium 241. So nangyari doon, tumawag si Young Sheldon ng isang company na tinapon na nila yung mga smoke detectors nila and was brought to his house, no, in many bundles of boxes. Afterwards, FBI agents came to the house is because natakot sila. Nakala nila anong ginagawa ng itong batang ito na naghahanap ng maraming fissionable material. Then again, unstable po sila. Kaya kung unstable sila, no, they can release a very big amount of energy, meaning they are readily explodable. Meron din tayong colifornium 252, which is used for detection of explosive. You have your iodine 131, treatment of your thyroid disease. Alright? Specifically, nakikita na ba kayo ng tao na may goiter? Alam niyo yung goiter na sakit? Anybody who has an idea of what is goiter? Nakikita ba kayo ng tao na yung merong malaking bulge dito sa neck niya? Ang laki ng bulge ng neck
Yes,
niya.
sir.
Alright? Yung laking bulge na yun, there's actually a thyroid disease called goiter. Now, for you to be able to treat that one, you're going to use the isotope of iodine for it to be able to treat, no? To be treated, no? Yung goiter or thyroid disease. Iodine 131. So, meron palang mga medical purposes din ito. You have your technetium 99, which is actually the detection of tumor. Ito yung ginagamit natin parang contrasting media para mas klaro pag i-MRI mo or i-CT scan mo yung tumor dyan, no? Na ginagamitan natin ng technetium 99. We have your carbon 14. This is actually to determine the age of the material. Actually, kung mamamatay ka, or let's say for example, no? All of us humans contain carbon. Now, let's say for example, punta ka sa nature, punta ka, nag-hike ka, at nakakita ka ng bone. Tapos nagdududa ka, uy, parang bone ito ng dinosaur. Now, we can actually determine the age of that bone by trying to find how many carbon-14 was left on that bone. No? So, magagamit pala natin ang isotope ni carbon for us to be able to determine the age of that material. And even for your uranium-238, pwede po ding magamit yan. So, those are just actually some few of your examples of your radioisotope. Ang dami pa nila. If you're going to Google it and find it in Wikipedia, ang dami pang lista doon ng isotopes. So, yan po yun. And that's actually it. Yan lang po para sa araw na ito. So, ang iiwan ko sa inyo is actually this worksheet that you are to solve. Okay lang ba? 10? Hello? Etong 10 na ito, I'll be converting this one into an image that will be sent to your group chat. Okay lang ba? 10. Ito, worksheet number 2. na for
Yes, sir.
for Friday sana, before mag-discuss naman tayo ng ions, masubmitted ito by Friday. So, yung ginawa nating example dito, yun lang po yung gagawin nyo ulit dito. So, nandito na po actually, nakasupply na. So, I hope that the ones that we practiced earlier, no, you get to apply it for these elements that we have here. Alright? So, yan lang po para sa araw na ito. Isotopes natin and how to solve for the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons, the mass number, and your atomic number. Questions? Questions?
None, sir.
None so far? So, can you do this one? I was surprised, no? Then again, sabi ko nga, meron kayong classmate na nag-discuss tayo ng umaga, pagkahapon, pinasa niya agad. Now, we'll be ending now early kasi ito lang naman yung lesson natin. So, maybe right after that, I get to finish and say goodbye with us here in Google Meet, no? Pwede nyo agad na gawin. Gawin nyo agad. Tapos, yun, ipasa nyo agad sa messenger ko at sa email ko para at least fresh pa yung na-discuss natin. And you will not be forgetting it. Alright? So, maybe magawa nyo after this one. No? So, just to give you an announcement, no? And then again, I'll be reminding that we'll be ending on March 12. So, we're only left with 3 weeks and this is the last week of your third quarter. Alright? So, next week, the next 2 weeks will be for your biology na, no? Which is the project for your biology or performance task will be that you are be planting something, no? And I would suggest that sana pine tree yun. Pero for some others who cannot be able to get a hold of pine tree seedlings, you can use other trees, no? Some others actually using cypress, some others are actually even using lemon tree. Sige, pwede naman. But if given the chance that you have to makahanap kayo ng pine tree na seedlings, yun, no? So, meron yung instruction at the end of your module. Alright? So, I think this will be it for today and this is just short and I'll be sending to you a copy of this lesson on your in your group chat and even the worksheet number 2. Alright? So, then again, for the last time, I'll be asking if you have questions that you find it confusing for this lesson today. Anybody? Wala na ba? Wala na bang tanong? Alright, it's really very quiet for today's lesson. Wala na bang mga tanong?
Wala, sir.
Alright, wala na. So, I hope that you can, then again, no, encourage you to at least do this one right away as we end this one para hindi fresh yung lesson natin with this one. So, without further much ado, thank you very much again for attending. We'll be seeing each other again on Friday as was mentioned by the consensus of the group na Friday, 10 o'clock. Be sending to you another link later on. So, thank you once again for joining and I hope that you'll be having a great day ahead. Good morning once again and goodbye. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, sir.